Well, this day I got about half a dozen more palmettos in that one zone. I keep finding ones that are still popped up. It's kind of hard when you have hundreds of them in an area to get them all, especially when you're rooting around with a backhoe to try and pull them out by the root. But hopefully I'll get those done and then start getting that area manicured. Just took the tractor through with a grapple on the front on a pass through this, just on this side of the neighbor's fence. Gonna see if I can cut a swath. Went through there with the grapple first to try and get the big logs and anything else that was maybe hidden in there out of the way. Got most of that cleared up. So now, been kind of dreading this day, but taking the backhoe off of the tractor, putting the 3-point and quick attach on there so I can start using the rake and the rotary cutter and box blade and some of that stuff to grade some of this stuff. But I keep coming up with other bits of palmetto back in that other space where I was working around the oaks. I think I just need to get a lot of that debris out of the way so I can see a little bit better about what I have, what I need to clear out. But all fun. Well, today's chore was to try and clear out as much of the palmetto stumps as I could find and clear out a little bit more of the debris. I was trying to decide, do I take the backhoe off and work with the landscape rake or just go with the grapple? And I decided to just go with the grapple. The backhoe's still on there, but started a pile. I'm like, what in the world am I going to do with this pile to get all this stuff separated, because there's dirt and everything else in there? And I'm like, you know, it kind of looks like a compost heap. So it may sit there and heat up and compost a little bit more, and then I'll just take that and spread it back here in the area. Let me go ahead and flip the camera around, but you can see, I mean, it may not look that different, but there was so much, debris and stuff. You can see the compost pile. So let me flip the camera around and kind of take you on a walk of what I did. All right, it is getting kind of dark, but these are our beautiful oak trees. We've got several in here, and the pine. Once I get things cleared, I might have to count all the oaks that we've got, but there's a bunch of live oaks. But yeah, I was kind of working through this area with the grapple, trying to get as much of it cleared out as I can. So we now have, it's a lot smoother, it's a lot less lumpy to walk through, I'll tell you that. But it's starting to look a little bit more like a tame forest instead of an overgrown mess. I still got a little bit to grapple out and to work on, and then I still haven't done that section straight up over here where I've cleared that out. That should look a little nicer and better behaved. I'm trying to figure out what to do with little scrubs like this and this guy here in the foreground, if I should leave them or clear them out. I've got a bunch of that. I don't want it to look like completely vacant. I like it to look a little bit more natural. But we'll get there. I think clearing most of the palmetto out and the greenbrier and muscadine is kind of taking its toll on the stuff that's here. And mosquitoes are out back in force, so I may cut this one a little shorter. But yeah, let's walk out this way. This used to be pretty dense in here. And then this path here leads along the fence line and goes back into the forest. And then this is the path that we originally had. I came through and tried to clear out a lot of that, but now you can start to see through all of these things. So it's definitely mosquito time. So I think I'm going to get out of the woods and wrap this up, take the tractor in. Here's another look at just kind of some of what I was trying to clear out. I got some suckers around that oak to clear out. And yeah, should be awesome. And the mosquitoes are bugging like heck. So that's a wrap. Alright, so Karen and I have been working on this other section. She's in there with loppers, having fun. Do you like pulling vines out of trees, Karen?
Oh my gosh, it's so satisfying. I love it.
So this is that section I pointed out the other day. It was really, really thick with muscadine and such. Let me flip the camera around. So it had, there's a pile there. I've already hauled off a bunch of piles and stuff. But yeah, there's, how many oaks are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's about a dozen small oak, live oaks in there that we've now uncovered. Yay, progress.
Yay.
Love you, honey.
Love you too.
I'm going to stop at Walmart and pick up some fuel. Right now it is for diesel. Let me get that in there. Where is it? Now it's $4.99 a gallon. So I typically fill my 2 5-gallon cans, and lasts me a week-ish or so. But can't really drive the tractor and the farm truck out to the fuel station. So here we are. So after that burn session we had last Saturday, I have I don't know, it's got to be 150 feet of hose lined up from the the well all the way down to the fire pit, way out there. And I'm like, oh, I gotta mow the lawn. That means I gotta roll up that hose. I'm like, what a pain. So I went over to Northern Tools, which is kind of the Florida version of Harbor Freight. They also have Harbor Freight out here too, and I picked up the hose reel, and so I'll assemble that. And I got some diesel while I was out at Walmart at $4.99 a gallon. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let you know how the assembly goes. Very strange. Inside the box with that wheel cart is a bunch of these little beads. Almost look like either the sandblasting beads, something like that. Very strange that there's a whole bunch in the box though. So here is the finished hose cart. Completely assembled. It all went mostly well. Well, it is next to the well. Anyway, should get some good use out of it. It'll make it easier when I do the burns to connect the hose to the well there and then just spool out to the fire. Actually started putting some more stuff out there, so I'm ready for the next burn. Don't know if I'll do that Saturday or when, but yeah, good times. Started doing some work out here and forgot to mention my intro. So I want to try and clear up the vines that are going up that tree. It's probably muscadine and greenbrier, but there's a little bit of palmetto in the way. I got to clear out just so I can get to the base of that, and then give it its safe zone of about 4 feet up, 4 feet around, just so I can see if any vines are starting to go up and get those killed off. Might be able to pull some down, but just stopping them from growing in the growing season is probably going to be helpful. So this is a spot that's just around the corner of the house. To give you a perspective, down there is where we were working earlier along the property line. So there's a gap between here that I need to get some other palmetto cleared out from, but I want to focus on the destructive part of the muscadine and such. So kind of took a pause. I don't know if you guys can see that tree trunk there in the foreground. That is a vine, and it goes up just past the tip of the backhoe, and it goes up that tree. Yeah. So that's what we're working on. I'm trying to get a lot of this stuff cleared, but this tree it's really overgrown around it. So there's a bunch of palmetto left to get out, and I want to save. I think that's an oak tree right there. So try to save as many of the nice trees and get rid of all the greenery or the vines and things that I can. But this one is definitely overgrown. All right, so I cleared a little bit more of the palmetto out of the way, and the tractor pulled back, but somehow I got to unwind that stuff. I tried pulling on some of those larger vines, but I think that's just futile. I may end up just cutting those and letting them die off. We'll see. But definitely got my work cut out for me on this one. All right, I'm going to give this a shot. Do some wider angle stuff of me working and doing normal stuff. Of course, I can't see the camera now, so I don't have any idea how we're framed. Hoping it's good. So I'm going to try and clear a lot of this stuff around this pine tree so that we get the vines and such. There's palmetto that I need to clear from around it. And the bugs are unfortunately bugging today. Just one of those days. But I'm going to use the BX23S and the backhoe to kind of dig around, use the grapple to clear some things. Brought some loppers to trim off some of the larger vines that have grown up the tree just so they're out of my way and I don't grab them and rip the tree down. So let's work on that. First of all, I'm going to put some protection on. Let's see. So my arms bruise as I'm getting older really easily. So I've got these, they're kind of a Kevlar sleeve that I put on. That way if I get bumped or rub up against the palmetto, which is like saw palmetto, it's like a saw, I don't get all scarred up. And some gloves, because my hands are fragile. Just realized I may not have framed this well so you can see me cut these larger vines. Might need a chainsaw for some of this stuff. Kind of crazy. Let's get some of this out of the way so that I can see. Again, I love the old man's beard, but not mine. This Spanish moss. But it does tend to get in the way of everything. So let me see if I can get a lot of this vine stuff out of the way too. Oops. Somebody's trying to call me. Is it Lake Nona High School? It is. Oh my gosh. These guys like call several times a day. All right, so Karen gets those. Also, so they'll get dealt with. Cody is supposed to have a theater thing coming up. I think it's this weekend. And I also have a time slot to go to the Magic Kingdom tomorrow and to Epcot for another ride on Guardians of the Galaxy on Sunday. Boy, that cut a lot easier than I thought it was gonna. Where does he go? Yeah, that's a vine. Believe it or not. He goes down to there. Trim him off there. Try not to do too much manual labor. That's why I bought a diesel-powered appliance. But once in a while, you got to do it. Let me get this so I'm not tangled up in it all so much. That's right there. There. Comes up to there. All right. How are we doing here? Still got a few. He's up and around. One around the back side. So I got kind of hard to see me, palmetto up and around this side. Most of the vines cut. There's a big chunk of palmetto there. There's another ivy one here. Get them cut. I think almost all of this. Got two major vines growing in here. One is muscadine, which is really, it grows up everything and gets heavy and pulls things down. And then we have greenbrier. Greenbrier is much easier to deal with, but it has thorns. So you got to be a little more careful with it as you yank on vines. That's the reason I wear gloves a lot. Let's see if I can come back this way. Yeah. There. Come back. Really the quest here is eventually to clean all of this out, but at the moment, keep this from advancing up the tree. And to save this, I think is an oak tree. So I have one oak here, and then this one in the foreground is also an oak. But there is palmetto leaning up against all that, so. All right, time to start playing with some diesel. All right, somewhere in this mess, I had a greenbrier. There it is. This is a little one. Bring it up a little closer to the camera so y'all can see it. So, greenbrier is the most characteristic root I got out here. I don't know, looks like weird stuff. Some of it looks like aliens. But yeah, this is what we're dealing with. So I got to pull all of this out. The muscadine, the roots aren't quite as bad, but it gets a good crown on it. And oops, that's about it. Let's see. So I'm going to round that up. I think dump it. I won't make you watch me do that, but closing up for the day. It's a lot of clearing I think I got done. I mean, all the way around that pine. And now we can maybe start pulling down the vines. Anyway, good times.